they have made. Of course, if the score had been different, if Cameroon had scored 2 goals, for example, or if the result of the other matches were different, then the situation would be different. But we are qualified. We know about the risks and responsibilities of replacing all the players. And when we make decisions, we take risks. But having said that, fortunately, everything went well, except for the injuries of our colleagues. But that's part of our planning, moving ahead. With our country strategy, we want to move ahead. Those who are now part of our team are in good fitness. The Korea team will be more tired than Brazil, but this is a World Cup. I'm sure that despite being tired, they are motivated, and I'm sure they want to reverse the result of our last friendly matches.
Fair enough. Thank you. Please, thank you. Yes.
Thiago Tite César.
Thiago, I'm Tite César. Good afternoon. I would like to talk about the field of play, ball, tactics. However, today my question is different. I would like to know to what extent a defeat hinders your performance. To what extent is it a problem for the team? And at the same time, we see the Brazilian media that is criticizing that decision. To what extent it hinders your performance? First of all, it's important to take stock of what we are doing in the field of play, and we feel at ease when assessing our performance. Now, outside the field of play, it's difficult. I do not dare to say what one or the other does outside the field of play. I know that many of my player mates have gone out with their family members, and sometimes we are looking for problems where there are no problems. I think the moments we have outside the field of play makes us stronger to be with our family members, to be with our loved ones. That's where we source our energy from. That said, we are very aware, we are responsible and focused on our objectives.
Doug.
Mas onde ele está?
Está ali, está ali. Está ali.
تياغو أود أن أسألك عن
Thiago, I would like to ask about your Hakim Ziyech, your colleague in Chelsea, who's playing for Morocco, and he's been a star so far in this tournament, and especially that he's not on the field of play a lot of minutes in Chelsea. So what do you think about that, and what do you think about tomorrow as well, about the match?
O Hakim é
Hakim is someone with whom I do not need to make any comments. I think he has had a great performance here at the World Cup, and I don't think it's the right time to talk about him. Now, regarding the match for tomorrow, it's a very difficult match. We are aware of the Korean team skill. They like to pass the ball, and we need to limit their offensiveness so that we can qualify to the next round. We know that we need to work hard. And I insist, our last game has nothing to do with the round of 16. We know it will be a difficult game, but I assure you we are very well prepared. Hello, Thiago. When we talk about Korea, we talk about Sonny to a great extent. It's a player that plays on the Premier League. And please tell us more about your opinion on this team. Well, it's difficult for me to talk about individual Korean players. We know that they are players that play at the highest level. We know how difficult it is to play against them. The first midfielder is also very skillful. We know how fast they can pass the ball, amongst other players that are very good, especially when counter-attacking. If we look at the second goal that Korea scored in its last match, we saw Son passing the ball to other colleagues. So I think we need to be extremely careful with this team that is very good, technically speaking.
Deu uma cola aqui o César de novo.
Os nomes.
So Cesar has given me a list of the Korean players. So I'm talking about Son. It's difficult to pronounce. Son, number 6. And also Lee. Lee is a very technically skillful player. I do not recall their names, but I know that they're very skillful. We know that they are very experienced. They have high technical skills. We played Korea in the past, and we know how difficult it is. That's why we're working on a daily basis to minimize the impact.
ببینید من سرمربی تیم سوال داشتم. سوال من اینه که برزیل با خاطرات بسیار زیباش از تمامی جام جهانی قبلی علاقمندان بیشماری نه تنها در برزیل، آمریکای جنوبی، بلکه در سراسر دنیا داره. این پدیده‌ای که وقتی یک تیمی دوتا بازی اولشو میبره و خیالش از صعود راحت میشه، مثل این دوره فرانسه یا اسپانیا یا تیم‌های دیگه، در بازی سوم مغلوب میشه، یه پدیده‌ای که فقط در این جام جهانی به نوعی نهایتاً جام جهانی قبلی شاهدش بودیم. سوال من اینه که سرمربی تیم نظرشون چیه؟ چرا با قدرت برزیل؟
There is no Farsi interpretation for this press conference.
The question is too long anyway, but this is not working. So there is no translation for this, please.
Working now? It's working now?
And I don't speak Arabic, really. So, no. Hello?
It's working now?
No. Não há nada. Não há nada, não. Não tem nada, não. Hello? No. Well.
Yes.
You know.
Interpreter's remark, there is no translation available into and out of Farsi.
There's no translation available.
In English?
In English, please. If you can do in English, appreciate.
سوال من اینه که به طور English. I start English. Excuse me. What's your opinion about the third match from Brazil against Cameroon and missing and losing 1-0 against Cameroon?
Primeiramente, eu acredito.
First of all, I think we played a good match. We could have won the match. We created opportunities to score goals. But sometimes we are subject to this kind of situation, and we take on our responsibilities and we move on. Especially because during the World Cup in 2010, I lost a match and I went back home. 2014, the same thing. 2018, the same. And now 2022, we are on the round of 16. We will learn from our past experiences. If we fall, we stand back on and we move forward. Because I think we have now another opportunity and we will fight hard to avoid any misfortune.
Yeah. Okay, now we can start with the head coach, Professor Tiet. There is also a gentleman over there in the back. Yes, please. Yep. Okay.
Chichi. Aqui. Tudo bom?
Chichi, here. To your left. Hello, Chichi. I have two parts to my question. First of all, to confirm, is Neymar going to be playing? That is the question, right? Will Neymar be playing? And how much is the team ready on his recovery, and what is the path which has been decided? We thought there was going to be a more complicated matches more ahead of us, and now it makes it a bit easier to reach the semi-final. So what is the national team thinking of from now onwards? From now onwards, career. That's all we think of. You've never heard us, we're going to do this or play against that opponent. That is not our role. Our role is to plan for the situations with the opponents we have. That is our objective. That is our focus. That's what we see as a goal. Regarding Neymar, and I knew that was a question you were going to ask us, he's going to practice this afternoon. And if he practices okay, he will be playing tomorrow. But there's a specific training today, and I don't want to think about anything, and I do not share any information which is not true. I want the credibility, and throughout my whole career, I've always had this with the press. When I don't want to say something, I don't say it. So my answer is he will practice this afternoon. If everything is okay, he will play. The other 10, you don't know who they are.
Chichi. It's working. Chichi aqui, Isabelle Costa, R10 Score.
Chichi, this is Isabelle. Talking about Gabriel Jesus, because there's some information that he was already feeling some pain in the matches for Arsenal. I'd like to ask you if you already knew he was feeling that pain, and if you did know, why did you cap him, running the risk of losing him in the middle of a World Cup? And obviously you can't replace him. And there were other players that you could have chosen. Could you please let us know, did you truly know that he was already playing with some pain, and why did you decide to still cap him? Thank you very much, Isabelle, because that's a very good question, because I don't like hearing lies out there, evil lies. Those are the people who want to do bad things for others. At no time whatsoever do we play for a victory at the risk of the peril of a player. So the liar who's out there, because that's the name, isn't it? That's how you call that. The haters, right? They keep giving hate. So it gives me the opportunity, go and do something else and stop giving fake news. Arsenal has a great medical department. We have a great medical department. We are responsible. We are personally responsible. We are ethical. And it would never have happened. I didn't want this to happen. It's a shame. We are very sorry for Gabriel. Yesterday we had Neymar, Thiago, and Marquinhos chatting with him, and then chatting with Telles. We then added Cesar. Cesar had an experience in the Brazilian national team, and he lived this. He has this experience of having been removed. He has more experience than I do to chat with them. And in one way or another, I'm going to say, not to take the pain away, because we obviously can't take that pain away, but just to make them feel better, to strengthen them, and for them to be able to participate with us as much as possible. Yes, that's important for us to clarify, because Chichi and Juninho were specifically visiting Arsenal, and at no moment were we made aware, not only them as well as the medical staff. I just repeat what Chichi said. We will never put health at risk for any result. And yes, an injury is difficult in an athlete's career, regardless of the moment it happens. It's always a situation when we feel fragile of not being able to do what you love and what you like, especially at a World Cup, which is a dream come true. Therefore, we spent some time with them, giving them some support. And we don't know what we will have ahead of us, but regardless of not being able to be with us physically, they are part of this team.
Okay. Yes, please.
Chichi, Leandro Quesada, tudo bem?
Chichi, Leandro Quesada. Hello, Cesar. So if he's okay, he'll be on the pitch. You just told us that. Now the question is, this might be a 120-minute match. Is it better to start with him or to add him during the match? I'm thinking that possibly Neymar will not be able to withstand 120 minutes. So I'm asking you this, but what is your idea, supposing you might have an extended time? And obviously we can't forget anything in football, right? We might go to a penalty shootout, and Neymar is a great player for that. We obviously pay a price for being the best, right? We want to be more competent and we want to be the best and never put health at risk. So Neymar being on the lineup, it depends on the medical department clearing that. Okay, let me make that very, very clear to you. So I want to be very transparent. And secondly, I prefer to use my best from the beginning, myself. And as a head coach, I have to take on that responsibility. It's my preference.
Raiza Simplício aqui da Gol.
Chichi, Raiza from Goal. Chichi, Brazil ended up having many problems at the beginning of a World Cup, lots of injuries, 5 players injured and 2 already out. I'd like you to tell us a little bit about what was the impact this has had in the work you have planned, and also if this very short preparation time compared to prior World Cups, if this has made a difference for this World Cup specifically. Well, adapting to a new reality. Yes, yes. When adapting, it has a series of components which are important for us to assess. What we tried to do, and what I can tell you is, in terms of capping players, we have to think about players who are versatile, especially from the defensive side backwards. Why? So that we could cover a possible problem as is happening now, and it's a great shame. We had a problem with Alexandro, and we had a serious problem with Alex Telles, 2 left wing-backs. And now we also have other players who have already played that role in their clubs. So that gives us a possibility. When we talk about the right side, we have Fabinho, who can do that, or a defender who's also done that. Casemiro, who has done that at some point, playing as a defender. Danilo, who's played as a defender, etc. So it's just a history for us to think about what are the options we have to weigh this, so at a decisive moment such as this one, we are not surprised based on what we need to do at the last minute. Chichi and Cesar, good afternoon. My name is Luis. I would like to ask the following. The day before the match, based on everything which has happened in this World Cup with the Brazilian national squad, are you tense or are you trusting this? It's not decided. I know that we are better prepared because of what has happened, and even the loss against the Cameroons, as you've told us, and also of all the athletes. Those who are out are rested for this match. Those who played and played well are feeling more trust. Those who played and didn't play well will have an opportunity to improve and get ready. We, from the coaching staff, we have another set of information, despite the loss against Cameroons being difficult, as was the case. Chichi, to your right-hand side. Good afternoon. I'd like to say hello to you and Cesar. I'm from Belém. And considering the Cameroons which let Brazil play, Brazil was in the opposing side much more often than when the 2 prior opponents. And let's consider that Korea will play very closed, trying to seek an opportunity. I think that the national squad, talking about on the pitch, which I think you prefer to talk about the tactical aspects, you've been passing the ball easily, calmly to be able to reach the opposing box. Both our wingers, when they turn the ball to the opposite side, they are always alone and raising their arm to ask for the ball. And it nearly didn't happen in these 3 matches. Are you telling them about this? Wouldn't that be a good opportunity for the Brazilian team that haven't done that? So thank you very much. Luis, I'm going to tell you that I'd like to show you that with videos. It will happen. It is our strategy. And they did happen. That is our strategy. They did happen. I can show you on the video. Look at again. This is the team that has most shots on goal in the competition. Look at it. You'll see it. You'll see it on the video if you replay the videos. I'm talking about the development and then inverting to the other side. If it's not, I'll come here and I'll tell you. But watch it again and you'll see it. I'm sure you will. And Cesar will even actually be able to tell you who are the people who did that. No, yes, we had that as an option. We have done that. It's exactly at the last match when we weren't very precise with this last ball, but it has been in our balls, yes. But we didn't transform those opportunities into a goal. And amongst the offensive activities, yes, we do have that opportunity to change the side. And that's one thing that Martinelli was able to do, a header, but it was defended. So, yes, we did have some plays like that. But don't ask me ever anything else, okay? Because it's difficult.
Please. Otherwise...
Dá uma olhadinha lá, senão a gente fica aqui no imaginário.
Have a look, and it's otherwise we're just imagining. But you have to sit down, look at the stats. Otherwise we say, oh, did it happen? Didn't it happen? Did it happen?
From
Yes,
a
please.
Danish broadcaster TV2, I want to ask you about the sad news of the conditions of Pele. Can you put some words on what he means to Brazil as a nation and Brazil as a football nation, and how you and the squad reacted to the news about Pele?
Obrigado pela...
Thank you very much for the question. And I'm sorry, I should have started this press conference talking about Pele. And I'm going to tell you about my feelings. Please excuse me to do that. This is possibly the only person who I actually was shaking when I greeted him. I'm speaking from the bottom of my heart, a very emotional moment for me. When, 2018, I'm going to tell the episode, we were sitting down and they said, there's the draw, and I was paying attention, there's a coach, a historical coach, and there's another one, and I'm going to take a photo and whatever, and I didn't even know what was going on, and that was okay. And I was concentrated and then said, go and hug Pele. I stopped and I started shaking. My hands were sweating. My heartbeats increased. I said, wow. I'm going to have the opportunity to greet Pele. He is the person who represents the human representation of someone who, health, Pele, health. That's all I can give you. It's something that all of us feel it's a difficult moment. I also had, if I can say this, the blessing. I was a player who was in Santos, the same club as Pele, and I had the opportunity to interact with him sometimes. And the very first time I was capped for the national team, I had the opportunity to play with Pele. It was something like even more than what Chichi said. It was, be able to talk to him and interact with him on the pitch. It was so difficult, because of what he is, what he represents, It's something I never thought would happen in my life. And that's a moment where all we can do, regardless of your religion, we just ask you all to please say a prayer, do whatever you do, and please send him very positive vibes. He is a person who has influenced my development, not only as an athlete, but as a man and as a human being.
Boa tarde, Jorge. Boa tarde, Tite. Boa tarde, César. Eric Faria.
Jorge, Chichi, and Cesar, good afternoon. Chichi, I'd like you to please tell us about Alexandro, if he's in the same situation as Neymar. For example, if he practices, he'll play forward or not. It's totally different if you could tell us. And if he cannot play, you're going to have to improvise. Against the Cameroons, it was Marquinhos. Will he be your option for this match? Are there other options? And what are those options? Good afternoon, Eric. Alexandra's out. There's no medical conditions for him to play. Answering and making analysis of the question that you made before, that person there, Isabelli, when you talked about health, We will only not add him on the squad because he has a health issue, and we respect that health issue. If you have a look at who played in those clubs, you will know the answer to your question. You will know the answer to a question. Just make a bet. Go, have a look. Look, Galvão, the pundit in the Brazilian TV, will tell you who it is. I didn't say Danilo? I didn't say it? Oh, no, sorry. Danilo, I thought that Thiago made the comment. We're very happy because Danilo is back, that Neymar is back. He made that comment, so I thought that was answered. Danilo is back.
À sua esquerda, por favor, Chichi.
Chichi, here to your left, please. Here. I'm from Gazeta TV. Chichi, I'd like you to make an observation. Can you see me? Yes, I'm just looking at this light because it's really strong in my eyes. In the cycle pre-World Cup, many times the results were to remove a burden, right? The results of the national team and many times were because of the opponent. Many times it was repeated that you never played against Europeans, and possibly you looked at Korea, Japan, and you possibly didn't give those victories as much value as they were worth. We see big European teams going back home, or the so-called upsets with the European teams with those smaller teams. And the Brazilian team won them well, and possibly the victory was not as considered and as important as they should be today in the World Cup, where we see how powerful these national teams are. Are the results of the World Cup surprising you? Or is this an assessment which might have been incorrect by the press, by the fans, that Brazil possibly won them easily, and now here in the World Cup they're much more difficult than what we thought they would be? Thiago, I don't make a comment about a comment. That's my very honest opinion. Each moment there was a situation, each moment had its circumstances, because, otherwise it's just hearsay. You ask me to go against an opinion given by the press, and that way we start a fight. No, that's not the purpose of us being here. The purpose is to build. I see things in a different way. It's not a fight where the coach has to go, I'm going against that person, that made a mistake. No, that's not it. It is great ideas to have the ideas being treated respectfully, and also being careful to have no fake news. That's why I said before, the opportunity of having correct information. When it's an information of Arsenal, that's very, very serious. That's very serious. So we just need to be careful, and that's what I give myself the possibility to do that. My opinion is important, and that's why I need to accept criticisms. The fact that I used a team which was different than this original startup against Cameroons. That's part of life. That's part of a match. That's part of my job. It is part of my job. Diverging ideas? Yes, obviously. This World Cup has a different feature to it. Very short recovery time, heat, intensity, getting ready. Help me, Cesar, please. I think FIFA was great to open this to 26 players. We actually spoke about this, and the level of information. I have seen that some of the national squads had technical options without so many of them can make up for the lack of the number of players. They have more tactical and strength development. So we don't really have so many favorites. Once you work with that information, it's not that clear. Just to add to something to that, and I think this qualifies our press conference here, our medical physical therapist assessed the high-intensity aspects of Poland in their third match, and it was nearly 40% less of the first two matches of Poland. So 8 players in the three matches had issues. So that means that it's very tough for the human body. Just to translate that into numbers for you. This is Galvão Bueno from Globo TV. He's the main pundit in Brazil. Thank you very much. Greetings to you. First of all, good luck. Good luck for tomorrow's match. It's got nothing to do with this question, but you spoke about Pele with so much emotion. I also had the great pleasure in life to do 3 World Cups with him. I've been exchanging some messages with his team, and he says that when he feels the best is when he watches the Brazilian national squad, despite feeling nervous, which I think is something which does him good. I think, yes, you're right. We all have to pray and send him positive vibes. So Eric spoke about the defenders. So if Neymar is well, and as you said, you prefer to start with him, I know you don't like to mention names, but could we imagine that if Neymar is back, could we think about Casemiro moving forwards? We would have the first lineup? Yes, you could imagine that. Thank you for your answer.
And good luck. Just last information, we have a training session today at 6 o'clock, first 50 minutes open to the media. Thank you.
Ali que estava ali. Beleza.
Need some help? It's too many people here.
Can you just make sure that they...
No.